All right, here we go. We're going to go with clue number 3.
Birthday.
Happy.
Joy.
Presents.
Gifts.
Your.
Losing. That was pure gold. Yes, that's right. We're back with another Friday bonus episode of the BeatiDudes, a podcast for Christian men seeking to grow in holiness while growing closer to their brothers and learning from each other on our way to eternity. My name is Paul Kolker, and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts Nick Besner.
Howdy, howdy.
And Jeff Scheffelbein.
Yippee-ki-yay.
And we are back with Pradeep Thoppil, who is sharing, well, if you didn't hear it on Monday, go back. It's fairly intense. He's sharing a story about living through Katrina in a hospital, all
Ground zero.
Yeah, ground zero, and back in 2005, being there in the midst of that hurricane. So powerful story of faith and God stepping in. Listen to it, share it with a friend. We know that we heal by hearing other people's stories and realizing that God walks with us in every moment of these times, any of these challenging times. I mean, because the Lord put himself under the cross for us and on the cross for us, and so anytime we encounter a cross, we encounter him. So, but with that, we didn't get to finish the episode on Monday with our normal Reverse Simpsons segment. So, we're going to reverse it up by doing it at the beginning of the Friday episode.
Reverse.
That's right. We're going to make a phone call because we're going to have a little game here that we're going to play.
Boy.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Cody. How are you doing today, buddy?
Doing well. Doing well.
Doing well. All
Okay.
right. So this is Cody Slape, part of the home team here at Undivided Life, and make sure that everything keeps going smoothly while the rest of us podcast.
Love it.
Hey, Cody, I have not told anybody what this game is yet, but we're going to play a game, and Pradeep, here's how this is going to work. We're going to get points between the 3 BeatiDudes, and there's going to be 6 different words. So it'll be like, it goes Nick first, Paul, then Jeff. Nick, Paul, Jeff. And what's going to happen is I'm going to turn down your audio where you can't hear the word. This is like the game password. Cody's going to say a word so the audience can hear it and the 3 BeatiDudes can hear it. But then the person, if it's Nick, and I said, I'm not going to pick one in case he has it. But,
Sure.
he has to try to get you to say the word by just sharing one word at a time. And if he goes past 3 words, like 3 hints, and doesn't get it, because we don't have all day. It's
And then
too
it goes-
complicated.
If we're trying to get him to guess socks, we might say like feet, legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on my legs.
On my legs.
So Nick, if he gets an then the new word comes up. It's gonna be 6 different words. So you'll get because you don't get to build upon his.
Got
so
it,
it'll
got
be
it,
a
got
fresh word.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I get an attempt.
yeah.
I got it.
It's 1 point each, and I think we've got the echo rocking there, Cody, but that's okay because we're the BeatiDudes. We can do whatever we want. Reverb.
Reverb.
So, Cody, can you hear us okay?
I can.
Okay, when I tell you, actually, we're going to do a test word.
Yep.
Why don't you say the word test word right now?
Test word.
Pradeep, did you hear anything?
I heard test word lightly.
Oh, man. This
Wait,
is
did
not
you
going
turn
to
it-
work.
Did you turn it down enough?
Yeah, well, let's do this. How about we're going to try again. This time, say test words.
Test words.
Nothing.
You didn't hear anything?
Nothing.
Perfect.
Okay.
Nothing. All right.
All right. So I'll be able to turn up your volume later, Cody,
Yep.
but for the rest of us, I'll be
That's
able to jack with it.
We're good.
So here goes Nick with clue number 1 from Cody. What is the clue?
Donkey.
Okay, now here we go. Now Pradeep can hear Pradeep. He's going to say, did you hear it?
No.
and I
okay.
have to say one word at a time.
Yeah, you only get 3 words, and you got to try to get him to say it. You can't just say it in other
Yeah.
languages because he knows every language.
Man, you really took it away.
I know. I can see it in your
Uh,
eyes.
Okay. Horse.
Donkey.
All right,
Wow.
1 point.
Wow.
1 point for Nick. Cody, are you ready for if I turn? Are you ready?
Yeah. You can turn
Yes,
it
I'm
down.
ready.
Okay, here goes. Clue number 2.
Rosary.
Okay, and here we go, Pradeep. You can hear again with Paul Kolker.
Decades.
Repeat that.
Decades.
Rosary.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. All right, here we go. We're going to go with clue number 3.
Birthday.
Happy.
Joy.
Presence.
Gifts.
Your
Losing.
That was pure gold.
birthday.
Close.
All right, Cody. Thanks for that one, buddy. Actually, that's my fault. Not your fault. All right, so it's 1-1-0.
Yep.
Nick for round 2. Here we go. Cody.
Florida.
All right, and Pradeep, you're back up. Here we go. What are you going to do for this word?
Tampa.
Florida.
Don't high five the guest.
Don't be better friends with him than I
That was
am.
good.
That's what that was.
It really was. All right, for the 5th word, Cody, go ahead.
Saint.
All right, here we go.
Canonized.
Saint.
Wow. Wow.
Like this is like this weird game where it's like, let me just pretend that I'm not gonna.
Oh, that's right. I'm
I had
a
options.
genius pharmacist.
Yeah. All right, and
I know
The-
you didn't like that.
for
I
the
had to do it.
3-pointer at the buzzer, let's hear the last one.
Airplane.
All right. Cockpit.
Airplane.
Nice.
And it's not a 3-pointer. I lost. 2-2-1.
2-1.
Cody, any words for the BeatiDudes from you? And where are you at right now, Cody? Are you at the computer?
I'm on the road.
He escaped.
I did.
Any kids with you?
No kids yet, but on the way to a birthday.
For kids?
With airplanes.
yes,
and
for Blaze.
donkeys
Yep.
and Florida.
Kids, Cockpit, Florida, Rosary Saint. He's just getting ready for the party. What are you talking about? Cody, we love you, man. Have a good day. Say hi to your wife.
Will do.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See you
Yeah,
in the
thank
see you in the
you.
Eucharist.
Later.
All right.
It's
that was
a
fun.
it's
was
a
cool.
sermon on the plane themed birthday party. That's how that all works.
Saint Cockpit? Oh, how are we? Congratulations to our tied winners. It's really, yeah, yeah, everybody keep the high fives going. Gosh.
Jeff's
There's
just
a-
mad he's not
there's a
getting
n-
one.
There's a new version of the movie Sonic. I don't know if there was an old version, but there's a new one where Sonic's like real. I don't know how to explain that.
Digital.
Thank you.
Digitally
He's like
animated
real.
in
Yeah.
live action.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all he wants in life is a high five. And I feel I'm wearing this blue shirt. I roll fast. And I feel like I just want a high five.
I
Got a lot of
roll
rings.
fast. You got so many rings.
Y'all. That's my life right there. So speaking of kids, Pradeep, let's take this here for a second. Then I want to ask a little bit more about some faith questions. But you have the most polite kids in the world. Do you know this?
I'm grateful for them. Sometimes it's hard to see as a parent what others get to see, right? But
Okay,
thank you
how
for
old
saying
is
that.
Jude?
He is 12.
Since he was 8 or 7, every time I ask this young man a question like, Jude, how's school going? School is going well. How is your job going, Mr. Shufflebine? And I'm like, it's really good. Jude, what do you like about school? I enjoy math. Is there parts about your job that you're also enjoying, Mr. I'm like, what? You're amazing at this. And he's like proactive, thoughtful. I've heard him do rosaries for one of my kids before, where he was just very proactively praying for specific things. And man, what? And sorry, Priya's amazing too. You have 2 of the sweetest kids in the world.
Thank you, brother.
Way
I
to go.
appreciate that.
Juby is awesome. Your wife is awesome.
She is. She sent me a very encouraging message right before
About this?
About the podcast.
Let's hear it.
You can't give him that kind of content.
No, you're
No,
good.
just kidding.
She was basically, we just on Monday's episode, I shared the
Oh, a big
Katrina
deal.
story,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's not something I talk about often with her, but she was just reminding me that God has a purpose in all of this, and that things will go great, and that meant everything to me.
Wives are amazing at this part. This part of like, remember that what you're about to do is not about you, and you have to tell your story. That in humility, God's using your story to connect with others. And that story, I promise you, reached at least 4 people I know. America's over there just today when it was recorded. So The other day I was doing somebody's podcast, and I was like, you know, babe, there's going to be a late night. And she goes, well, then God's going to use this for somebody that needs to hear it. And I was like, I love you. Thank you for
Yeah.
being
That's incredible.
a
Yeah.
rock. My
Yeah.
rock. I don't know.
A rock.
Yeah. Thank you for being rock-like.
No, you're right, Jeff. It's something not to take for granted, right? It's definitely a blessing.
Well, and you don't take your faith for granted. Talk about, you know, if people heard the Monday story, they heard where God was kind of leading you. What's life been for you in a faith journey as, you know, you furthered your way into adulthood? Nobody ever says I furthered my way.
Furthered your way.
Are you writing an essay that has to be a minimum number of words?
Nice.
And another thing I would like to ask you is about when you furthered your way into adulthood.
You're good at this, Jeff. I love it.
No, like what's
Primary host.
primary host? I don't even know what that means. But what's the world like for you as a father, husband, Christian man? Like, what's your walk been like for the last decade?
I have enjoyed building community around me, and so what the walk has been like, it hasn't been alone. If I was walking alone, I think life could be a lot different. But yeah, it's been continuing to lean in. This past year, I've been very aware of my yes, and so just not being quick to say I'm too busy or I can't, or perhaps even if, you know, I listen, of course, to my family and my wife, but I try to take the time to discern certain things, not to be quick to say no, because that's the easy thing to do. And I know you said you may touch on this trip later on. This
Well, you
trip.
just went to Rome.
Yeah, just came back from Rome in April to see Father Kevin's ordination. And I believe that was a gift just from saying yes to a father-son encounter we had.
So you took Jude with you.
I took Jude.
Yeah. When is the convenient time to take your kid to Rome for an ordination? Like, that's not something that you just like, oh, this is a convenient time. Like, you have to have a yes in there somewhere.
Absolutely. And I look at it the other way, Jeff. Jude took me to Rome because God blessed him with that trip. And
Oh, really?
I had the privilege of taking him there.
I knew I should have
And
been
so-
nicer to him.
Do you like Rome, Mr. Scheffelbein?
I remember him asking that. And I said, too many questions, Jude. No, so he was offered a chance to go to Rome.
Correct. Yeah. He expressed interest in wanting to see the ordination of Father Kevin, wanting to go to Rome, and he just had this desire on his heart. And he's a kid that doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't ask for a lot. And so he expressed that interest, and through the Holy Spirit and the work of, you know, Father Kermit was instrumental in this, and speaking to a family that helped bring that to fruition.
Wow.
And this was right before finals time, so you're right. There is not a good time to do this, but it worked out great.
You have to tell us more about this trip. You went to an ordination, a priestly ordination
Yeah,
in Rome.
who's Father Kevin? Y'all are acting like I should know him.
It's not
I'm
Father
sorry.
Kevin Colker. That's
No,
a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a father.
Yes.
Father, brother.
Father.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
heard about this. Before, it was a deacon that came here locally with Regnum Christi, and he was positioned with the Highland School and helped run ECYD. And he was
Four initials that nobody knows what it means.
Yeah.
Yes, Encountering Christ influences your decisions is basically ECYD.
It's not youth disciples.
It sounds good too.
Okay.
But it really is Encountering Christ, influences your decisions. And so it's a Christ-centered youth ministry, and Deacon Kevin was helping to run that.
Cool.
And so, it was just going to Rome was absolutely incredible. And it was life-changing, and it was a mission, right? This wasn't a vacation. And Jeff, you already know Benny Pro has been on our hearts with this, and we went there knowing that he would be at the top of our prayer intentions. And so we saw this as a mission for Benny and for your family. And when we landed there Thursday morning at 8. We went, we kind of got our bags into the monastery where we stayed, and we went to a church. And we were on mission to pray and go to as many churches as we can for Benny Pro Scheffelbein.
Well, and they didn't just do that. They took pictures of Benny all over the place with them in Rome and would leave them or place them at the feet of different holy places, different altars. Oh my goodness, what do you have? Oh my goodness.
And so here,
Shut up.
here's a printout of
Oh my
the pictures.
goodness.
And so Matthew, Zeke, and Mateo, Zeke, also came on this trip.
Yeah.
And he printed out these trifolds with with this message on the back: "Dear Jesus, please heal Benny. Thank you." And so this trifold of this picture of Benny, we printed, 40, 50 of them, and we went to churches, and the boys would try to get this as close to the main altar as possible. And so here's a picture of that trifold. Here's a picture of Deacon Kevin at that time holding the trifold right after celebrating Mass that very second day at St. Peter's, right there in the Vatican.
Dude, I saw some of these on a text thread. First of all, it's different to hold them, and I know I didn't see all of them.
And so here is the ordination. Jude and I are there.
Brother, you acted like we might talk about Rome. You just pulled out pictures.
Holy Spirit. I had a feeling. And so, but this is just important, right? And I know everyone watching this show is praying for Benny. And Jude and Mateo and Matthew and myself were definitely very much on mission to pray for Benny at every church we could. And we wound up going to over 24 churches. The boys were enthusiastic about doing it. That's Father Kevin blessing us immediately after his ordination.
That's
Jude,
a very special blessing to get. What were you going to say about Jude?
Oh, no, just that he was also just excited to continue to pray.
I think that's one of the most special moments is right when a priest has received orders, and oh my goodness.
And so here are just some examples of the boys placing the pictures at the feet of various holy statues across Rome.
Amazing.
Santa Scala, is that the Holy Steps?
We did, yes. That's right. Great.
Awesome.
Great capture there.
That's beautiful.
If there was an
brother.
open prayer book, you can look through them. Jude and Mateo were writing out notes for Benny for intervention.
What are they doing next Thursday? They want to come to a Benny send-off in the morning?
Definitely can.
It's going to be his last radiation is next Thursday morning. We're going to have a big send-off. And then I'm actually going to go up there because only one parent can go back. But when, oh, man, it's hard to even say this. When a kid's done, they get to come ring this stupid gong. And I think it looks so cheesy when I first walked into this place. And now I can't wait to see him do it. You know, it's like that gong means something. And it's not just a stupid gong. Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about brotherhood and fraternity as well.
Let's do that.
And we had our encounter with Christ last night. Andrew's out of town. We oftentimes will meet at his house.
Greatest T-shirt on the BeatiDudes, Andrew Rawicki.
Absolutely. And he also has his loaded with nice celestial beers as well, so it kind of works out nice.
Awesome.
That man knows fraternity.
He does. But we reviewed the upcoming Sunday's Gospel, Matthew 4, and it was just talking about that moment, with the apostles in the boat and just that chaotic storm. And Jesus is at, the head of the boat just napping in peace. And we spoke about you, Jeff, how the example that you're setting through this chaotic season of you trying to keep your peace and showing peace and stillness and trying to stay centered. And I know it's not easy, but your name came up at our group meeting last night with the example that you're showing. So you have a whole lot of brothers praying for you and Benny and the family.
Thank you. You said it earlier, like without brotherhood, without community, you can find hope in that, right? You can find hope in being with people who love you and pray for you and pray with you. I don't know. It brings me great hope. That is not the first time we've been praying together. You joined me in a chapel 5 years ago this week when Ambrose was born and I barely knew you, and you and a bunch of men showed up with your boys, including Jude, and prayed a rosary in the chapel with my family who couldn't believe that there was a bunch of 5th graders and 3rd graders praying a rosary and asking for the special intentions of Ambrose Charles. And here we are with pictures of Benny all over Rome. So I accept your compliment, but it's through Christ and the way that Christ shows up in community and in brotherhood for sure.
Absolutely.
So you decided that since your first episode was going to be difficult for you, you're just going to throw it around and
Make
it difficult for me.
No, this is the season, right,
It
Jeff?
is.
And just like I went through a Hurricane Katrina, you're going through a hurricane yourself, right? And,
For sure.
And I recognize, in those moments, branches blow off and leaves blow off, but it tests your roots in those storms. And
I'll look up a verse.
Please go for it. Yeah.
please.
Do you know, I was showing this picture. Cody, who was just on the show,
Yeah.
Cody had been out of town, and he just, when he came back in town, we had a lot to catch up on. But his very first thing was, hey, how's Benny doing? Let's just check in on Benny first. And I said, man, I got to show you a picture, because at the end of every treatment, Amanda sends me a picture that he's out of treatment, but he's sedated. So I always get his and I need it because I'm at work. I want to feel connected to my son, sedated 5 days a week. But I want to show y'all something. I know the people listening can't hear this, but I can describe it.
They can hear it.
Look at how they can hear it. That's a good point. Thank you. If you're listening, can you hear it? Look at how different his head now looks after going through. He's finished, I don't know what it is, 26 treatments.
Yeah.
Now it's completely darkened out.
Mm-hmm.
His scar is bright red and it's real scaly. And then all of a sudden, there's a new part of his head that's starting to peel a little bit. And he was laying there in bed last night between me and Amanda asleep. And as I was looking at this, and so was she, I was not in despair and not in anger. I said, how is this our life? How am I even talking to you over this kid right now? And she said, I don't know, but it is. And I'm grateful for it. So that calm in the storm, sleeping next to this kid and just being grateful for everything in our lives, not just the next day with Benny. What do you got, Paul?
Well, so it's something that came up in prayer for me recently, and a lot of this, as we've talked about with Exodus 90 and all of that, this has been a verse that for whatever reason has just been sticking with me, but it's Psalm 18:16. I remembered the wording, but I had to Google it to find the reference, but he reached from on high, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. And I just feel like that's what both of y'all, you and Katrina, but then, in a very literal way, right, in Katrina, but then in the storms of life and everything, I just feel like that was what kept coming up for me as soon as y'all started talking about it. And it's been something that I keep trying to go back to, because it's when the Lord reaches and pulls Peter out of the water, you had to know that a devout Jew like him would have known Psalm 18, and realize, wait a minute, he's drawing me out of the water. But yeah, that's what he does for us.
So good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And that's what brothers do for you, right? In that moment where you feel paralyzed in the middle of the storm, they can read you a Bible verse and bring that
awareness.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're brothers with Nick and Paul now?
I do.
Before the show, you were hugging them, and I think you left handprints. You were squeezing them so hard.
It's a prayer. It was a group
my back's
prayer.
a little bruised, but I'll be okay.
Got this.
I worked out this week, so I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I just want to say something. I feel like for Jeff, us, this brotherhood community, it can feel normal whenever you're living in it all the time. But there's guys out there that don't have this. Where do it's it takes an action, right? You need to be the first to ask somebody to come over on a Friday night and have a beer, and don't just have a beer, right? To go deeper, to take that step. I just think I remember when I was 25, 6, 7, I didn't have this, so there is some if you're feeling this, if you're hearing this, thinking man, how do I get that? It's create it. So I just want to call to action for our listeners.
When we were saying when Pradeep said he's been focused on the yes, right? Somebody makes an invitation.
Yeah.
It's not what you had planned, so no, it's not convenient.
Correct.
Hanging out tonight at somebody's house is not what I had planned. But if it's a chance to even see what God has in store for a connection and for friendship that's rooted in something real, then when you can, make it a yes.
That's right.
Go to Rome.
Go pray a rosary at a hospital chapel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a big one. Okay.
Just a
Thanks
couple,
for the brotherhood and the tears and the prayers. And no joke, this is it's been wild to be going through this part of our kid journey and brain cancer and radiation treatment and man, a roller coaster of good and bad news and doctor news that just brings you to your knees. Actually, I'll say this. I don't think anybody in my life has heard me as an adult wail the way I did in Nick's office the first day that I heard that we were going to be going through a lot of chemo. And I couldn't even come up with like an audible sound. It was just wailing. And then, I mean, that whole thing flipped again. We found out the tumor, this is like the greatest bad news you've ever heard. The tumor's so bad that it can come back at any time for the rest of his life. You're never going to feel comfortable that it's not coming back because it's this very rare supratentorial ependymoma, ZFTA positive N2, if you want to look that one up.
Wow.
But then the other side is that it doesn't react to chemo, so don't do chemo. And I'm like, all right, well, that's a win. Like I kind of wish we could blast this thing, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to not doing chemo and being able to have my kids just be kids and not have to be afraid of their immunocompromised brother and all the stuff we've been through. So,
Amen.
Thanks for the brotherhood. And I'm going to look at each one of you and say this. Thank you, Paul, for the brotherhood.
Right back at you.
Thank you, Pradeep, for the brotherhood.
You're welcome, Jeff.
Thank you,
Likewise.
Nick, for the brotherhood.
Absolutely.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Jeff, and it's amazing. I've called your children saints before. Your children are bringing people to Jesus, right? It's amazing to just hear how people are just praying all around the world, right? They're bringing people to Jesus, and they're doing God's mission through these difficult circumstances.
Amen.
Since we're the BeatiDudes, can I finish with a fun story related to that?
Let's do it.
I write on LinkedIn every day. I post this cool picture. It is literally Pope Francis and a cardinal holding a picture of Benny Pro and praying. Have you not seen this picture?
I have not.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this thing is a trip. Did you see
It's
it, Paul?
Awesome.
Is that your phone?
Yeah. I can pull it up for
Let me
you.
pull it up on Paul's
I
phone
think,
real
Paul,
quick.
I
Wait,
guarantee
what's the
I have it
passcode?
faster.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so zoom in on this. This is literally one of our guests, Jose Diorquiti, gets this into this cardinal's hands, and the cardinal shares it, and the Pope prays over a picture. Amanda saw it and said, the Pope has seen a picture of me. But no, we were so moved when this image hit my inbox. And Jose is a phenomenal leader, right? Like, God bless this man for making so many people have these encounter moments with Christ. But to share a story with you, I posted on LinkedIn, and my post was really, prayer works. Thank you, Pope Francis, for praying for my son. You know, I really appreciate that people would do this, and thank you, Jose, for making this happen. And all these people are saying sweet things, and then every once in a while on LinkedIn, certainly on the BeatiDudes, people attack us for Catholicism, but it's pretty rare on LinkedIn. And this guy wrote, he was like, great, idol worship at its finest, because all he sees is this picture of Pope Francis. He didn't read a single word. He just shoots at me, you know. And then I write back, Brian, your comment seems misplaced, as I'm just thanking a world leader for praying for my sick son the same way I would thank you if you prayed for my sick child. In fact, Brian, would you mind praying for Benny now? And I just sat there, and then the post just goes, poof, deletes. So, I mean, I don't know what this guy's relationship is with the church or what's ever happened to him, and I will pray for him because everybody has their moment. But it was online social media gold of like, I'm just asking you to pray, and then he deletes his post. So,
May I share something on that note, Jeff?
please.
That is a beautiful example. So with these weekly meetings, we have encounters. We end or have a resolution after that meeting. And I was thinking it would be neat if you all would be open to having a resolution for the audience after, after our episode. And I felt like that would be a neat one because you went high, right? You were Christ-like in your response to a very kind of a hurtful, hateful comment, right? And look at the results of that. And so
Let's do it. Let's make resolutions.
yeah, so I was thinking a potential resolution could be to take a higher Christ road when someone goes low.
Mm.
And because I'm sure we'll have a moment sometime in the next week or until the next airing of the next podcast where someone's going to throw that dart at us, and we can take that as a resolution to try and respond.
I drive on I-35 regularly, so I will have plenty of opportunities.
To take the Christ-like road.
You got to.
I love it. Well, let's do it. That's our resolution.
That's it.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And I mean, you're going to be on the live when we have our first live show. You're going to come on and give everybody resolutions.
Let me know.
All right. It's been a blessing being on the show with you, being brothers with you, adding new brothers to the brohood.
Oh.
I guess you could just say brotherhood. I don't
Yeah,
know why
yeah.
you shortened that.
No, BRO apostrophe hood.
The brohood.
The brohood.
Awesome. Cool. Well, for everybody listening, please tell everybody you've ever met about the BeatiDudes so that we can continue to
Everyone you've ever met, yeah.
will meet. That's your resolution. Actually, take Pradeep's resolution and in the comments, well, that's not fair. You can't just share with us when you took the high road because then you're going to throw somebody else in the low road bus. Just say check in the comments after
There you
you've
go.
finished your resolution. How's that?
Love it.
Resolved.
Resolved, yes.
Be it resolved.
Done,
like it.
resolved it. Check out the resolution while my DJ resolves it.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
That's Jeffrey.
Nice, Jeffrey.
All right, folks, we will see you on the next show. We are actually, the next time we're recording together is at the National Eucharistic Congress. So a lot of those episodes will be coming out in the future. They're guaranteed to be something. So
They're not going to come out in the past.
Yeah.
They'll definitely be in the future.
Because that's how time works.
all right, we've got it all figured out here. I hope you get it all figured out, and we will.
See you in the Eucharist.
God bless us all.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @ so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @ the _ BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.